God be with you.
And with you.
Today's collective worship is called Truth, Lies, Love and Forgiveness. And we're going to hear two stories, and in these stories we're going to come across a family who were jealous and dishonest, but we will see that there were consequences for their actions. But we'll also see that wasn't the end of the story for them, and that they were given the opportunity for a new start. Our first story is called Joseph the Dreamer. Jacob had 12 sons. That's right, 12. His favourite son was Joseph. Jacob spoiled him and gave him special gifts, like a beautiful coat decorated with many colours. Reds and greens, blues and yellows, purples and pinks. Joseph was bright as a rainbow and proud as a peacock. Joseph's older brothers did not like this one bit. But what they hated even more was Joseph's dreams. "I had a dream last night," boasted Joseph. "Oh no," groaned his brothers. "I dreamt that we were all bundles of wheat, and guess what happened? Your bundles of wheat bowed down and worshipped mine." "And I had another dream," Joseph bragged. "Go on," his brothers sighed. "I dreamed we were all stars, and guess what? Your stars bowed down to mine, just as if I were your king." It didn't take long for Joseph's brothers to grow tired of this, but that's no excuse for what they did. The next time they were out of Jacob's sight, they grabbed Joseph, tore off his colourful coat and dropped him down a well.
Wah! Ha! Ha!
They were just about to kill him, in fact, when they spotted a cloud of dust at the edge of the hill. It was a band of traders bound for Egypt, their camels loaded with goods for sale. "Why should we kill Joseph?" asked one of the brothers, "when we can sell him to these traders and make some money for ourselves? He'll be sold as a slave in Egypt, and his foolish dreams will never come true."
Ha! Ha! Ha!
20 pieces of silver. That's how much the traders gave them for Joseph. And when the traders had gone, the brothers ripped up Joseph's coat, dipped it in the blood of a goat, and carried it home to their father. "Joseph is dead," they told Jacob, and they showed him Joseph's coat, its long sleeve shredded, its beautiful colours smeared with blood. Jacob wept and wept. And Joseph wept too, as the traders carried him far from home. How do you think Joseph behaved in that story? What do you think? The one we've just heard.
I think he was a bit naughty, really. I think he was a bit boastful.
He was a bit boastful, yeah, absolutely.
But it was partly Jacob's fault for liking him too much.
That's true, yeah. So Jacob behaved wrongly too, didn't he? You're right. And of course there were big consequences. And what about what his brothers did?
That was really bad.
That was awful,
They
wasn't
lied
it?
and they hurt him.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, there were great consequences there. So in a minute we're going to hear the next story, but before then, quite a lot of different things happen. So Joseph had been taken to Egypt and sold as a slave, where he worked for a wealthy man called Potiphar, and soon he was actually doing really well for a slave. But Potiphar's wife took a shine to Joseph, and Potiphar got jealous, and the long and the short of it was that Joseph ended up in jail. Poor Joseph, what a lot of awful things had happened to him. But even that wasn't the end of his story. I expect you remember Joseph telling his brothers about his dreams. Well, it turned out that was a really great gift he had. And when Pharaoh, the great king of Egypt, started to have confusing dreams, only Joseph could tell him what they meant. Thanks to Joseph, Pharaoh learnt that there was going to be a great famine in Egypt lasting 7 years. And he was so pleased to know and to be able to plan that he put Joseph in charge of planning and organising the food to make sure nobody was going to go hungry. Joseph became a really important and successful person in the land. Everyone looked up to him. And that's where we start our second story about Joseph the ruler. One day there was a knock at Joseph's door. And when he answered it, his 11 brothers were standing there. They bowed down before him. They kissed his feet and they begged, "Kind sir, we have come to Egypt all the way from the land of Canaan. We have no food. We're starving. Please, may we buy some from you?" Joseph said nothing. He just stared at his brothers. He knew who they were, but they didn't recognize him. "All right," said Joseph, in his sternest voice. "I will sell you food," and he ordered his servants to load his brothers' animals. But that wasn't all he told them to do. "Take one of my silver cups," he said, "and hide it in the sack of food tied to the youngest lad's donkey." Joseph had a plan. He wanted to see if his brothers had changed. When Joseph's brothers reached the edge of the city, his servants stopped them and searched through their sacks. What did they find? The silver cup, of course. "We don't know how it got there," the brothers exclaimed to Joseph. "Your brother stole it, that's how," Joseph answered, "so he must stay in Egypt and be my slave." "No, please," begged the brothers, "that would break our father's heart. Keep one of us instead." When Joseph heard that, he knew his brothers had changed, so he told them who he was, right then and there. "I am Joseph," he announced, "your long-lost brother." This news did not make his brothers feel any better. They were so frightened, in fact, they could hardly speak. "Don't be afraid," said Joseph. "I forgive you. You meant to hurt me, but God used what you did to save us all from this terrible famine. Now go. Fetch my father and the rest of our family to come and live in Egypt with me." The brothers looked up. The brothers grinned. The brothers cheered. And after a lot of hugging and helloing and handshaking, they set off to Canaan to tell Jacob the good news. And Joseph just sat on his throne and smiled and thanked God for making his dreams come true. So in that story, we noticed that although the brothers had treated Joseph incredibly badly in the first story, when they came back to ask him for help, he treated them perhaps better than we might have expected, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. These stories...
He was quite mean.
He did make them be very, very sorry, didn't he? But then when he realised how much they'd changed, then he forgave them. Yeah. And these stories remind us of how important it is to be truthful and kind, even when people aren't truthful and kind to us. None of us get it right all the time. But if we can learn to forgive each other, just like Joseph forgave his brothers, we can all have a fresh start. Now I'm going to say a prayer, and if you'd like it to be your prayer, you could say Amen at the end. Dear God, thank you for always giving us a chance for a fresh start. Help us to remember the importance of being truthful and kind. Help us to say we're sorry when we've made a mistake, and to forgive others when they make mistakes and hurt us. Amen.
Amen.
God go with you.
And with you.